Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth Debate pre-show and after-show goodness. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, you'll have to first subscribe to the Flat Earth Debate live channel. A link is also in the info box below this video. Now we're currently in the interim stages between the two debates, so I'll transition across to the Hangout so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I set up for the next live show.
Because it has been observed, you need less speed when going in the direction of the spin, rather than going against the direction of the spin.
You realize
because of inertia.
Sounds like a reification fallacy.
Spin.
Right, this doesn't prove Earth spin. I'll give you all your points. I'll give you all your points, right? If I'm going to ask you for evidence that rockets spin and go at a certain speed one way than the other, what are you going to present to me for evidence if you can't prove that the Earth spins? So you're going to give me some kind of rocket telemetry or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So can we see some?
Oh.
Hang on. It's not even going to prove Earth spin though, mate. It's just going to prove that rockets are going at a certain speed.
No, I don't have the data with me because I hadn't planned on getting to the subject. But
listen, okay, but it doesn't prove that the Earth's spinning. It just proves that rockets are giving you data that may or may not be manipulated or falsified. Not proof.
Right. Well, I see. Yeah. See, that's what I was saying. If you don't believe in rocketry, then you can't.
Right. Well, I've got like videos of Santa flying over New York in the daytime whilst he's going getting reloaded for presents.
Anthony. Sorry to interrupt. So you're saying if I don't believe in rocketry, what's the rest of that statement?
Well, if you don't believe in rocketry, then I can't prove a point of the spin of the Earth using rockets.
But rockets don't prove the Earth is spinning. Believing in rockets, well, I can see a rocket. I can go and watch one launch up into a space center and see rockets, but that doesn't prove the Earth spins. So you saying
don't believe telemetry from the rockets?
No. What we would need is proof of the region that you claim they're traveling to.
Proof of space, I see.
But even if we had proof of space, that wouldn't prove that Earth spin.
The only way I think rockets would prove if you could put me in a rocket and I could get out far enough to be able to observe it with my own eyes, then that might prove using rockets.
Well, let's scale it down.
Plus, to me, you would have to prove to me that the rocket could actually reach the escape velocity of 25,000 miles per hour.
Not even that.
Escape.
Not even that. Let's bring it down to a smaller scale that we can relate to, right? We can test something that spins. Let's think of something that spins, a washing machine or a roundabout maybe on a child's playground. We can test these things that spin because we can make them spin. We can prove that they spin because we can make them spin. We can manipulate it to show that it is spinning and it's not just a shutter effect of the camera. We can make them spin. How can you prove that something's spinning in a rocket by looking down from above unless you can get high enough and you've got supervision that allows you to speed things up to be able to see that it is actually spinning?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal and crypto link, and also Patreon in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, Sleeping Warrior, Paul, Moppy, Chocolate Saying, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for
Good
having me
morning.
on.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Let's see how swiftly we can deal with housekeeping. We haven't had a concise one in days. So, gentlemen, brace yourselves. Is there any signs of Earth curvature?
Nope.
Yo.
Just a limited viewing angle.
Come on, say it boldly, no muttering. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Absolutely not.
No? What about axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Any proof that Earth actually spins?
There's no physical signs of it.
Really? We were discussing this in the pre-show. No, nobody with proof that Earth spins? Okay, moving on. Clearly and observably stationary. Excellent stuff, as we all know. Everyone on the panel understands and agrees it's obviously stationary. That's great. Moving on. Any evidence that you can have a gas pressure without a container for all the people who believe in space?
No.
Wow, keen
Never
panel.
gonna happen.
Everyone on mute, nobody answering.
Because we're hoping, Glober might step in for that or something.
Sorry,
Fair
my
enough.
little one was wanting some juice.
General lack of enthusiasm. Thank you, Arwin. Thank you, Chocolate. What about evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No, definitely not. That is one hell of a fairy tale, though.
Nah, not over here. None of that.
I wonder who originally came up with that concept.
I don't know who came up with it, but I know people have made claims that they can prove it. Maybe Anthony's on the phone.
Of course they
I don't know. Any word from Paul Voigt? If he stays on mute, we'll assume the answer's no. Moving on.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was getting my little one some juice. Sorry.
That's okay. No fear. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
There is no distance to the sun.
Nope.
It's not true. It's just over there.
No.
It's there. Look, I can see it behind those clouds, distorting it.
Now let's measure that over there and assume something and create a whole sphere nonsense around it. It's ridiculous.
Anybody seen any signs of scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
No scientific evidence of gravity looming on the horizon?
And in retrospect, even, you know what? If we'd have to vary the independent variable, which would be gravity, to prove it, then maybe that wouldn't be all that a great idea to begin with, even. Maybe we shouldn't even try to prove it. In reflection to the hangout on Globebusters the other day, if you guys remember.
What, you're saying we shouldn't manipulate gravity even if we could?
Right. Well, they were talking about a potential gravity reverse event. And I joked in chat like, "Oh, yay, we got the proof for gravity, but it's just cost the entire world. That's all." So maybe we shouldn't even try to prove it.
Fair enough. I'll take that as no.
We're not trying to prove it.
I'm
We're
not.
asking
There's a
them
claim
to
out
prove
there
it.
that there's this magical unicorn called gravity. So if they want to claim that as the band-aid to end all band-aids, then I'd like to see some scientific evidence of it. But clearly from your sentiments, there isn't any.
Nope. And maybe that's better that way.
Well, a lot of people believe that nonsense, Arwin. But moving on, any evidence of the presuppositional R value, Earth radius?
Mick West already admitted that that's assumption based on a standard model. So yeah, nah.
Yeah. It's based on the standard model. They only assume R. Oh, well, that was reasonably concise. That concludes the housekeeping.
Yeah.
Got plenty of gaps on the panel, if anybody wants to join in the audience. I've got quite a few people watching, surprisingly, considering how small this channel is that's going out live on. Clearly nobody in the audience has any rebuttal to any of those questions either.
To be honest, I'm in like 7 different groups in Facebook, so I've been sharing this thing all over the place. So, because I keep seeing that there are a lot of new people who keep showing up. I read in the chat a lot, like, you know, somebody will say, "Oh, I just joined. I just found this channel 2 days ago, 3 days ago." So I'm trying to share it as much as I can, get the word out.
I just got a comment. I have to admit, when I first started looking into flat Earth, I was thinking, like, how could you tell the size of something from distance? Like, and I thought, you know, maybe you could look at it and tell. And the more I thought about it, I'd look, research, and try to find anything, and I go like, can't figure it out unless you know one piece, or you know, a couple pieces of information. Like, if you already know the size of it, then you can determine from the angles to figure out how far away it is. But if you don't know either the distance or the size, you can't do nothing. Before I looked at it, I was like, that was a huge thing when I first started looking into this, because you can't determine the size unless you know.
Right. Yep.
Make an assumption.
Exactly.
So
Right.
go ahead and finish what you were saying.
No, I was just affirming your point. You're exactly right.
I think that was the biggest thing for me, is like what you've all been saying, is they have to assume certain things. You have to assume it, then you determine it. You know, then you determine the distance if you assume it. Assume the size, then you can determine the distance. If you assume the distance, you can determine the size.
And then I guess that's when it changes, right? Because when you find out everything is based on assumptions, do you keep going with that? Do you continue this quote-unquote science that's based on assumption, or do you step back and say, all right, well, where's the actual proof? Where's the actual distance for the sun? Where's the actual, you know, scientific experiment that proves the rotation? Where is that? Why is everything based on some type of an assumption?
Or worse,
Like
double
a
speak of the highest order.
cognitive break.
Got double speak with
sorry,
axial rotation, haven't you? You know, people who simultaneously think that the Earth has got both 1 and 2 reference frames simultaneously.
Right, and they're falling over themselves to try to explain it when it's clear that it makes no sense, because they can't even explain it. And they just keep going with it. It's like they hit this block where it's like, I can't go any further. So, yeah.
I mean, that's why I think that NASA, and I know we don't go on this very much, but why they say they have to land on the moon, because to say they landed, that means they actually traveled the distance, they knew the distance, and it confirmed the distance. And that new probe they sent to the sun, they have to touch the sun. It's funny that they said touch the sun, which means they have to assume the distance, know the distance to be able to even get there to touch it. Landing on Mars is the same thing. You have to assume, but by them saying we've landed there, they're saying we know the distance. We assume the distance. We figured out the distance.
Yeah, like boots on the ground, right? We've had boots on the ground on the moon, and I guess wheels on the ground on Mars. So we have to just believe that that's what's actually occurring when it's complete nonsense.
I'd like to just make a point real quick with the last thing that Mopboy, I think it was Mopboy who was talking about the rocketry. So to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, to me he seems to debunk Coriolis, because he says that there's an aspect in which the rocket takes advantage of the spin of the Earth so it doesn't have to travel as fast. But that's our point in critiquing Coriolis with air flight travel. So wouldn't that be the same thing then? Because the rocket is leaving the reference point and therefore in isolation of it, but also taking advantage of it. So why doesn't that happen with air flight, with airplanes?
Isn't the whole basis of them being able to escape Earth's gravity would be the escape velocity that they have to reach? So
just wait a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that doesn't work for planes because planes use the atmosphere, which...
Sorry, what are the rockets flying through?
They're flying through the atmosphere, but they're not using it to... Just wait a second. No, there's a big difference.
Is this like the distortion thing?
No, listen. I'm not using the same verb.
I really don't want to let you spew this. This is absolutely ridiculous. Prove to me that airplanes cannot take advantage of the spin of the Earth.
It would seem very difficult, but they're actually using... Let me say something. They're using the atmosphere to keep up in the sky.
Hey, Jose.
Hey.
Whereas rockets just try to get through the atmosphere. As planes use drag to keep upright, rockets try to have the least drag possible, so not to be influenced by it. And planes stay a lot more in the atmosphere than rockets do.
That's a great explanation. Can you prove that?
Well, you don't need to prove it. They're both in the atmosphere. They're both suffering drag. They're both in the same reference frame. There is no difference. If one can take advantage of the Earth turning underneath, ipso facto, the other one will have the same effect happen. There is no difference. They're both travelling through the atmosphere. So if one is suffering it and the other isn't, then it's just nonsense. The one, coincidentally,
traveling through the atmosphere.
I hadn't quite finished. Sorry.
Okay,
sorry to interrupt you while I was talking there.
No, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. So the one is the one that we don't do. So I've been on plenty of airplanes. I know what air travel does, and I know for an absolute fact that the Earth is definitely not rotating underneath them. Now the rockets, on the other hand, correct me if I'm wrong, it's only the priests that go up to heaven in the rockets, isn't it? We're not doing that, are we? We just have to take their word for it that their rockets do something completely different to what the planes actually do and we do experience. We just have to take their word for that, right? Unless you're a rocketeer. I didn't actually ask that. So have you experienced this rocket travel yourself?
No.
Oh, it's just the word of the priests. Okay, so I'll just explain it to you as a statement of fact. The priests are lying to you because air travel does not take advantage of an Earth turning underneath, as the Coriolis effect would dictate if the Earth was spinning. Now, you're claiming that the rockets do take advantage of this. That's just nonsense. Your priests, they're lying to you.
No, I don't think you quite... I don't mean to be insulting in any way, but I don't think you quite get it. Planes use the atmosphere to go to move, right? They use their wings to stay up in the air, and the atmosphere follows the rest of the Earth.
Sorry, did you just say... Sorry to interrupt you. Just want to get a bit of clarity. Did you say the atmosphere follows the Earth, as in it carries along with the Earth as it rotates. Is that what you mean by that statement?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, well, there is no Coriolis effect then.
I'm not familiar with that.
What do you mean you're not going to deal with that? I'll say it again. Shut up. Shut up. If the Earth travels with the atmosphere, that is one reference frame, and there is no Coriolis effect. So do you not understand what the Coriolis effect is? Because it seems to be that you've just claimed I don't understand, and then you have basically flown in the face of what defines the Coriolis effect, i.e. separate reference frames with the Earth turning underneath. Did you hear my question? Number one, I want an apology, because I do understand this, and it's very clear to everyone watching and on the panel that you don't. So, you ignorant little boy, I want an apology and a concession that you absolutely do not understand this, as your statement that the travelling atmosphere with the Earth contravenes the very effect that you're trying to prove, clearly demonstrating you don't understand this. Right, sunshine?
Right, could you first explain to me what the Coriolis effect...
No, first concede that you don't understand it, even though you've just claimed I don't. Because you're rude, ignorant, and have Dunning-Kruger. You don't understand just how ignorant you are, but you're prepared to tell me I'm ignorant, and now you're asking me to school you. No, have some humility. First say no, I didn't understand it. I'm sorry I accused you of not understanding it. Now please school me, Nathan. Say those words. Have some humility, sunshine.
Sorry, I thought it seemed obvious that I didn't understand the Coriolis effect.
Well, why would you say that I don't understand it then?
I wasn't talking about the Coriolis effect.
Oh, we are absolutely talking about it. We're talking about rockets and the effect they gain from the Earth turning underneath. The Coriolis. Right. You don't understand it, even though you're using it as proof. And you're simultaneously saying that I don't understand something here. Well, no. That's why I'm asking you to apologise for your claim that I don't understand what we're talking about. We are talking about Coriolis when you talk about rockets and their added bonus of the Earth turning underneath as dictated by the Coriolis that you don't understand and have claimed I don't understand something here. So are you going to have some humility and apologise for your error and claim I don't understand? And then beg that I forgive your indiscretions and then school you in this effect you don't understand?
First of all, I was not commenting about you not understanding the Coriolis effect. I was saying, I thought, and I did say, I did not mean to be offensive in any way. I was simply saying, you seem not to understand the difference between flight in the atmosphere and flight in hypothetical, you might call it.
Hypothetical? Space. Sorry, should I be understanding something that you haven't explained hypothetically to me? Am I psychic? Am I psychic? Why would you claim I don't understand that you're going to describe something hypothetically when you didn't do that? So, am I psychic? Is that why I don't understand your hypothetical situation? What kind of dumbass calls someone, claims someone doesn't understand a situation that you're going to hypothetically describe? Because I can guarantee you, sunshine, the rockets don't travel through a hypothetical atmosphere. They travel through the atmosphere.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Yeah, you said, I don't understand a hypothetical travelling of... And then I cut you off pointing out that you claiming I don't understand something hypothetical is meaningless. We're talking about Coriolis, aren't we? Or do you still not get that? When you describe your rockets and their reference frames that they're travelling through compared to the planes, that we're absolutely detailing Coriolis.
Right, just let me look up Coriolis.
No! Accept that you don't understand it and I do, even though you're here still claiming that you think, hypothetically or otherwise, I don't understand what's going on here. I'll tell you, I'll break it down. Because clearly, like a dumbass, you need it explaining back to you. You've got an example, a contradiction of planes not having the Earth turn underneath, as claimed by you, happens with rockets. This is an effect of Coriolis.
Okay, Mapoli, say you don't understand and you're going to research it so the show can move on. Thank you.
I need you to concede. You've said you need to go up and look up the Coriolis. Clearly, self-evidently, you do not understand this example you're using. And I want you to concede that. Have an ounce of humility, lad.
I don't understand the Coriolis effect.
Oh,
that's always been
so maybe
clear.
you'd like to now apologise when you claimed, I don't understand something that's going on here, when you clearly are the one with the confusion.
It's true. It's true.
I'd like an apology, please, lad. Yeah, I understand what's going on. You do not, contrary to your assertion. Do you understand that?
Right, you understand the Coriolis effect. I do not.
Contrary to your
sounds like an
assertion.
apology to me.
Hence me seeking an apology. Completely contrary to your assertion. Hence my seeking of an apology from you. That's right, Rubik's in the chat. Conceding is tough. Especially if you're a religious zealot and you believe that rockets are going to a fake medium called space. Sometimes conceding can be so hard, we have long pauses that radio would get fined for. How much dead air do you want to leave before you apologise for claiming I don't understand this, when you need to go and look it up?
Let's say it's very hard to actually come up with a
Hey,
way
Zinder.
of saying things.
Yeah, shut
that
up.
will not
Yeah, shut up.
get you
Hey, Zinder.
shut
How you doing?
Everything okay?
Same always, same as always. Same shit, different day. That's the one.
Perfect.
My boy, it's not hard to come up with. You don't have to come up with anything. 2 words. My bad. Let's move on. That's it.
Okay. Sorry.
We've been on this. We've been on the same point for how long now? Just
No problem.
I know it kind of
He
sucks to have
apologised,
to
Chocolate.
concede things, but yeah, just say
He
my bad and let's
apologised.
go.
He said sorry. He slipped it in there while you were
Cool.
talking. No problem,
Yeah.
you're forgiven. I would advise that you go away and study the contradiction that is the Coriolis effect. The contradiction being that according to the rhetoric that you have learned, rockets have this added bonus of the Earth turning underneath the atmosphere, and yet planes don't seem to experience that. That would fly in the face of Coriolis, as if the rockets get that bonus, so would the planes as they're travelling in the same medium.
They're not.
Sorry.
I'm looking for. Oh, come on.
Hold on.
I'm looking forward to hear the conversation, Mopoli, with more knowledge about the Coriolis effect.
Just
in the near
said
future.
they're
I don't
not
think it's
travelling
any
in the
doubt.
same medium, Jose. So you think the rockets take off and suddenly travel into a different medium to the planes? That's what you think?
Yeah.
Really?
After how long? When they left the ground, or what do you mean by that? Sorry.
I don't know precise timings. About 10 minutes, maybe.
Oh, so when they left the atmosphere, then?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what you were talking about.
sorry.
Okay.
They leave the bit that we're all familiar with. Sorry. Where? So they're going from the bit that we all know, the atmosphere, right? And they're going somewhere else when they have this effect. Where's the place that's not the bit that we experience? What's that called?
Well, very low.
I wasn't talking to you,
pressure
Cinder.
environment.
I know you're trying to help, Cinder. Where are they going to exactly when they start to experience this added bonus of the Coriolis suddenly taking effect, where it did not take effect before? Just to confirm.
It did. Okay, I see what you mean. It did take effect. Only it was. Sorry, I'm trying to phrase this in an easy, understandable way. Let's say, yeah, it did the same bonus applied, but it got quickly cancelled by the effects of the atmosphere.
So what you're
Which
saying
is
is
not great.
it's a self-cancelling effect. So what you're saying is for things that travel through the atmosphere prior to travelling to the region you haven't told us that they're going to yet, I still don't know where they're going when they leave the bit that we all experience, but they get the added bonus when they leave that. So what you're saying is there is no Earth-based Coriolis effect. So when Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about a football making or not making a field goal because the Earth turned underneath the atmosphere, you're saying that doesn't happen. It only happens when they go to this region that we don't experience. That's correct, right?
It only happens when the atmosphere isn't.
Oh, that's not the claim, though, is it? Coriolis effect is supposed to be an effect all over the world.
Oh, I see. But when the atmosphere is far greater, you can basically not take the Coriolis effect into account.
Oh, so why do they then? We're told all the time about how snipers take it into effect. So you're saying that's not true anymore because you've got a region that these rockets that contradict the planes go into that we don't experience. This sounds like nonsense. I don't really understand any of it. It sounds even more like nonsense considering that you still haven't presumably gone away and actually looked at what the Coriolis effect is. You still are ignorant of this point you're arguing.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't feel the need to continue with this conversation. Can we bring this down to earth? I got some footage to present.
Yeah,
Yes.
In a second. Hold on real quick because I want to close this point, Mapoy, because you said that the rocket trajectory uses the spin of the Earth to get where it's going. So you're giving us different stories because you're telling us that it's taking advantage of the spin to get where it's going, and now you're saying not until it gets where it's going is the spin does it get this added bonus. So which is it? How does it get there? How does it take advantage of the spin and whatnot? But my other point to make, and we can wrap this up so we can look at Jose's footage, is you still have to prove the Earth is spinning because all you're doing is assuming the consequent. Because if a rocket takes advantage of the spin of the Earth is already there, and that's what we're asking you to prove. So stop arguing in a circle and prove your major premise. Prove the Earth is spinning. Now,
can I use
and the main point is try to prove it to yourself. You know what I mean? Don't accept what you've been told. Try to get actual proof for it for yourself.
Oh, you mean like not using exterior data?
Again, not using what? Sorry.
Not using exterior data such as rocket telemetry.
Sorry, is it your rocket? Are you flying it to heaven?
Right, I get that as a no. Then no.
So what he's saying is don't just take the word of the priests that tell you they're going to a region that can't possibly exist, utilising Earth turn that no one experiences to get to heaven.
You're making this very unfun.
Making it what, sorry?
Very unfun.
Oh yeah, it's really fun to come here with a fundamentalist religious belief about a spinning ball religion that you hold, and then when people rip it to pieces, argue from ignorance about Coriolis effect that you don't understand, explain twice that the sun, which we can clearly see disappearing in, talk over everybody while they're pointing out your idiocy. Yeah, this isn't very much fun if you're a globehead religious zealot, because you have a fundamentalist belief about living on a ball in a region that is fake. Sorry, that's not much fun. For us, life is sweet. We know how exciting the world is, because we've realised that we've been lied to by priests, the ones that you now want to go to affirm your rocket telemetry that's assisted by an Earth turn no one experiences, to travel to a region that cannot possibly exist because we wouldn't have gas pressure here. And they can tell you all about what heaven's like, right? Yeah, don't do that. That's nonsense. That's silly. That's how you get tricked by priests. Jose, ready when you are.
Yo, I'm gonna need the assistance of maybe Arwin or somebody to present. Sorry, man, I'm on my phone. You know, I'm working on getting me a cheap computer so I can share by myself.
Right, I'm going to do this before that happens. Then, Jose, you're going to have to suffer this because Arwin had the short end of a very shitty stick yesterday from me, and he has worked very hard recently. He's kept his show going, and all he seems to get from me is abuse and then asked to present stuff. So, if you're in the chat now, Arwin's going to write something. Go and subscribe to him if you haven't done already. He will definitely fill the void that is there between 1 PM and 2 PM UK time.
Thanks for the shout out, Nathan.
Yeah, early bird show, good stuff. I joined Arwin show. I think it was Friday and Saturday for a little bit. We had lots of fun. We talked about random subjects and we had a good laugh. So
Oh, I saw a good video from another exceptionally good YouTuber called Sleeping Warrior, where somebody in your live chat, Arwin, as amusing as this is, was saying, the guys don't support each other, even though that's something we've been banging on about for months, how we should be sharing everyone's videos and shouting each other out. But there we go, they're accusing Arwin and us of not having, good unity. And then Anthony dropped 10 quid in his super chat, and Arwin's like, well, that kind of craps all over your argument, doesn't it, my friend?
Yep.
It was great. Your timing was epic.
Yeah.
That was a real win-win situation there.
So yeah, it's my latest video. I posted the link on the Master B Skype chat. If Arwin or somebody want to cue it so we can play it. This is about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when I did some awesome observations on the lighthouse and the bridge. The same day, earlier when I got there, I saw a nice little natural phenomena taking place with the waves, and I'd like to share with everybody.
I'm actually there if Arwin wants to argue the toss about what you're going to claim. How about that, Arwin? I'll even share it. Is it called Are Waves the Cause of Obstruction from Bottom Up? Is that the one?
Yes, yes.
Got it. Just let me know when you guys
just
can see
uploaded it last night.
Do I need to mute it?
Yeah, you can mute it. I'm just narrating, but just, you can mute it.
Well, yeah, it's only a few minutes long, so if you've got the mic, Jose, you talk us through it. Please don't interrupt him, people.
I went over there, and once I set up my camera, start zooming in, start panning around, and I see this odd-looking wave underneath the boat. And I heard the term tidal bore or tidal waves or something like that. And I was like amazed on looking at this because I haven't seen it documented from this flat Earth globe Earth neighborhood, in actual. I've seen older footage, but as for somebody like just recording it like this, it's really good stuff. It wasn't a big ship, a big boat, because this thing comes a long way and keep going to the left. This could be an explanation of things disappearing from the bottom up. If I'm just going to give you my interpretation of my take on it. If it was a constant thing, but I have never caught it. I think this happens maybe a few times a day. It's not a constant thing. And when you are very low to the water, these waves are going to definitely obstruct your view. But in the spot I was standing 15, 20 foot above the water, you can see the actual horizon. I say actual, it's still an apparent horizon, but you still can see the actual horizon above the big-ass wave. Maybe a few seconds from now, you can see the wave like blocking the bottom of the ship. And if there's anything really far away, which is really small, it's going to be blocked by the wave. Just wanted to share because it's really cool to document things that do happen in nature in the daily basis, and for everybody to see, analyze it, and make it whatever you want. You can talk through it if you want to. I have nothing else to say. Just cool footage. Sure.
Jose, this footage is exceptional because of the way the rolling waves are on the horizon with a hard line behind them. We've got something that I've tried to get out of a few frames of Ranty's images, like with a duck and various other things. But this is a rolling, continuous example of how you've got a limited field of view below your eye line, which is rising up to the midpoint of the camera, or eye line, depending on your poison, and blocking, intermittently, the bottom of something that's obviously further away than the waves that are rolling. You know how far those waves are, and you know that boat's further away. This is ace. So, you are, how high did you say, 15 feet?
15 to 20, yeah, no higher than that.
Okay, it doesn't matter. 20, let's say it's 30. You're obviously lower than the midpoint of these boats. So your visual acuity in the lower field of your vision is going to be limited by the lower half of what you can see over. The waves! Because you're low down. So it's going to obscure from bottom up by virtue of obstruction, not necessarily limited angle. If there wasn't anything obstructing this boat, you might be able to see the limitation of the angle causing it to disappear from bottom up, but this is just flat out obstruction. Caused by perspective, you're low to the ground, the thing in the near foreground has risen up to the midpoint, doesn't mean that extended plane doesn't carry on beyond it, and that it's going to cause this effect with obstruction in the near foreground. I'm going to do this. I'm going to shout out Ranty's shows that are going to get chunked up. So we did nearly 6 hours with Life is Short and Red Pill Philosophy on various effects like this, and I can't remember which. I think it's part 4. He covers this in so much detail, but without this to back it, and this is epic. I mean, obviously you appreciate this backs our point, right, Jose? Surely you do.
I know, I understand, and I appreciate it. That's why I really want to share, because I want everybody to interpret it in certain way. I cannot explain it myself. I'm just documenting what I see. This is what is good about me. I want to document phenomena and things that do happen in the daily basis and upload it. I give my interpretation, but you can do yours, you know.
Look at the lines on the big ship where it is pointing. If that was literally over the curve, that means that the entire thing would now be capsizing backwards, facing away from us. But it's not.
Yeah,
it's
I knew
literally
it was a good footage. That's why I wanted to share.
And it's actually pointing slightly upwards.
Right, but what it's also got is, if now that you've got this boat on the right and you can see the waves with something that's clearly in the mid foreground, as the waves come, they block. Let's just arbitrary numbers. Let's say it's 20 foot or 10 foot at the bottom of the boat. As the wave comes now to that boat, I'm going to circle what I'm talking about. You've got a wave that periodically blocks a bit of the boat. Well, moments earlier, when you were on the other side, if something smaller, because it shrunk into the horizon with distance, i.e. it's only this big for a similar sized boat rather than this big, well then a wave of this size can easily block half the boat. Nothing to do with angle in this example. The thing itself has still reduced in angular size towards the horizon. You can see it, but it's blatantly obvious that the thing in the near foreground is the thing causing the obstruction. Now, when you haven't got something that gives you a differential, i.e. splash in the air like's happening here, to say, well, obviously this is an intermittent, you can see it sometimes, then you can't see it sometimes. And because the boat is smaller and further in the distance, it's easier to obscure the bottom of the boat with a wave. The same holds true when there's no waves at all, i.e. the field of your view, the bottom section between you and the deck, has an extremely limited angle, and everything above has a very wide angle, meaning that the ground in the near foreground has risen up to the midpoint and will obscure whatever is behind it if it's far enough away for its angular limitation to drop into that horizon zone. So this is epic. I'm going to use this to death with your permission, Jose.
It is really cool. I gotta go, by the way, guys. I'll be back in like half an hour or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fascinating. It's almost like if water gets in the way of your line of sight.
I'll stay in as a placeholder.
Okay.
Thanks, Howie.
It's almost like if water gets in the way of your line of sight, the object you are looking at will appear to disappear. Wow.
But not just the
right
water.
I don't know if it's still going. I don't know if it's still going that wave, but appears to be going, just more constant. In the beginning, you can see when it start breaking in, and you see the going to the side.
It's almost
really cool.
Yeah, it's almost like the same effect when boats appear to disappear completely behind the Earth curve, because water gets in the way of your line of sight. Are there similarities? No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop troll.
Well, no. I mean, obviously, if you've got something that has shrunk towards the horizon like this versus this, well, a wave or the deck itself rising up to the midpoint of your vision is going to obscure more of the thing that has shrunk towards the horizon than something that's in the near foreground. Well, if this was calm as opposed to a rolling sea, you globeheads would claim, oh, look how much is obscured of this smaller thing in the background. Well, this, for all you know, is the same size as this boat. It's just further away. I'm not saying it is. I'm just making an example. Don't jump all over me. Or, better example, this boat is clearly small. This boat is clearly big. Well, when you get to the other side, you've got a different scenario. You've got something that's in the nearer foreground. You know, you might have a post that's coming out here that sticks up halfway up your frame because it's close, right? Big things are close and small things are far away, as a general rule of thumb. Obviously, that doesn't always hold true if you've got a toy cow and a real cow. But you know what I'm saying? If it's smaller and closer to the horizon has shrunk with distance, the obstruction in the near foreground, regardless of a great demonstration of it being intermittent, is still the deck that you're looking over, and that will rise up to the midpoint of your vision because of your limited field of view in the lower half of your field of vision, and its limited angle. Anyway, I'm going to plug that show again. So check out Life is Short. I've chunked out those videos. You get concise explanations from someone better than me on all of these things, just without the great visuals that Jose's now got playing.
Can I bring something up? Can you go back to another angle where you can see the ship, the large ship?
You asking me to rewind?
Yes, please. Or fast forward wherever you can get into a scene where the ship is. It's just, well... we need to get up close. Okay. All right, that's good. If you want to pause it right there. To me, it seems as though the line between the dark and the red is not parallel to the water. So you've got refraction even right there. It was just something that I noticed with my eye and was just curious if you guys feel the same way. So that we're not, there's an aspect in which that the bottom of the boat at the front is no longer physical, but atmospheric.
I absolutely agree, and this is something that I've shied away from, and I owe Ranty a fiver. I've basically tried to focus on the angle only and ignore all aspects of refraction just so I can wrap my head around what's going on with the angle, so I can be reasonably concise in saying the bottom half of your field of view is limited by the deck you're looking over. That is a fact. Detailed better in terms of the explanations given by Life is Short on those chunked out pieces that are going out daily for the next week. But ultimately speaking, you will always have, to a certain extent, the effects of refraction, minimal though they are, when you're zooming in right at the point that the ground meets the sky, as far as your vision is concerned. That is a point that is going to have refraction. So while we call it negligible, there is still these effects occurring at the most limited points of your vision, bearing in mind that Jose's field of vision in reality is absolutely enormous. You know, I'm going to play this from the start just so you can see what I'm talking about. You know, the actual field of view that Jose encompasses is massive. So when you're talking about what in this field of view is basically, what, 2 or 3 pixels in this wide angle that we're talking about, that we're detailing in the amount of stuff he can view as he looks around his position when he's standing taking this photography. But we've got zoom, so you can zoom right in on that area that is the most affected by what is still negligible refraction, but it's still there. Unless you red pill philosophy and you get perfect conditions. I mean perfect. With his lighthouse recently. I'm sure you guys have seen that, right? But they're just few and far between.
I know, this is good stuff, so I just wanted to share it with you guys. Thank you.
Well, part of what I'm thinking too is if you start at the beginning of the video and look at it with, you know, like, so wait, stop it real quick. Go back to the very beginning. Okay, so it's right there. We're standing there, because this is what I did in my videos as well, and I would make the comment, I would find the object in my viewfinder the same size as I'm looking at it with my eye. And my point is, I can't see any definition at this distance with my eye. There's no way for me to say what I'm seeing in terms of curvature or obstruction. I can't see that far. So, you know, if we zoom in and zoom in and zoom in frame by frame by frame and begin to then see the definition become more acute, you know, that's just an interesting discussion in the physics of what we're seeing. And so my point is to call bullshit on the Aristotle legend that he saw a ship going over the curve. No, he didn't, because no one's eye can see with that kind of accuracy. You can't begin to go, now it's going, now I'm seeing it going over the curve. You can't focus on that. And then when you zoom in, you're changing your depth perception. So you're never seeing the same thing anyway. There's no way you can say that you're seeing a ship do anything else but go away from you. I'll stand by that.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I agree with you on that. I mean, I've never seen a boat disappearing bottom first over the horizon during the day by naked eyes, right? Because like even a big boat, even a big tanker that is like 10 times bigger than they could build the boats back then, right? They had like relatively small ships in relative to ours. So the only way I could see it with my naked eye was at night when the boats had lights on, when those fisher boats went over the horizon. Then I could see the light because the contrast was higher.
Yeah, but even then, you're still not going to be able to have any definition because the light at a distance gets blurred by the atmosphere. I had the same situation when I was filming the oil rigs at night. You know,
go on.
I was just saying I could see the lights with my eyes, but then when I even used the camera to zoom in, the lights, I had people that were watching these videos with me, my mom, and they would say, is it on fire? Because the lights were dancing and shimmering through the atmosphere. So even there's no distinction. It's not that defined.
Well, I guess I had better atmospheric conditions because at some point the really bright dot started to disappear, and I only could see a spotlight from the bottom to the top. You know, like if you would take if you would look at the light that is blocked by a wall, right? And the light source is under the wall. Let's say under the highest point of the wall, and you shine it up.
Sorry to interrupt. I gotta get out of here. Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Boom.
Thanks, Jose.
So the only thing you can see is the light hitting the atmosphere, right? A light that is reflected by the air, right? And that was the same effect I could see at the horizon. So I knew it had.
I hear what you're saying. I guess I would say that if you're watching that ship and one of the lights disappears, I would say that that's going to be the result of the fact that your eye can't resolve that image any longer.
Yeah, but there is obviously we disagree there. I think that water actually blocked the light in that regard, and then obviously then there comes in the angle of attack and everything. But I think we would go nowhere if we would start to discuss those things right now. I mean, it's
only because it's devastatingly obvious on screen right now. So it's just rolled by. I need to do it on the screen. So this boat, presumably, is small and in the distance, yeah? And something in the near foreground is higher than it because it's got so small and so close to the horizon. Isn't this really obvious now?
Well, I can see waves, right? Or is it like land? Can't see it from here. Yeah, I agree. Like, things that are closer appear to be bigger because of perspective, obviously. I mean, if I take my hand and put it in front of my eye, it appears to be bigger than everything around me. I mean, that's not the point I disagree with.
But look, that boat's completely gone. Yeah. There. You cannot distinguish whatever the hell that is from the waves, can you? It's gone.
No, if I wouldn't know that there is a boat, then I couldn't.
Right, but this is a tiny wave in the foreground blocking an enormous boat in the background. And not only that, thanks to Jose, I can just press play and within, what, 300 frames, the boats come back? But this demonstrates that because something's got small and close to the horizon, it's far easier for the deck that you're looking over to obscure the bottom of it. Or all of it, because its angular size is reduced so much. It's so close to the horizon, It's surprising if you don't get this obstruction, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, how the hell are you ever going to claim its Earth curve ever again, ever, thanks to Jose?
Because I think that water, like in this case, blocks the line of sight of you on the boat. So I think that's why it's Earth curve.
Hold on, Jose, Zinder, that's against the rules, my friend. It's always the leading edge of your bloody sphere, my friend. That's the leading edge of your sphere right there.
No.
No, I know. No, I know, Zinder. It's a bad day to be a globehead. Very bad day.
That's a wave.
Yeah, just a wave, like we've been saying for about 5 years.
Hi, Nate.
Hey, Ranty.
You're right. Listen, do you know where Jose takes his footage? Because I just need to bring it up on Google Earth, because we've already been through this. We know what's going on there.
Hold on, Travis, are you trying to say something? Because you're cutting Ranty's mic if you're not.
It's real short. It just says totals 11 through 27 of this.
Yeah, just pop you on mute, Travis. Sorry, Ranty.
Yeah, do you know where Jose does his photography? What part of the country he's in?
I don't know.
I believe he's in Texas.
Texas? Texas? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless he's already moved back to Florida, because I remember him saying that. But he used to be in Florida, then he moved to Texas. That's where most of the footage, I think, is coming from.
Ah, yes. There we go. We know what he's doing here.
Giving us a really great piece of evidence that demonstrates that things in the near foreground can block out things that have considerably reduced in size to the horizon because they're further away.
No. He's just being tricky with his with what he's actually presenting. And I already brought this up with him directly. And it seems to me like he's filming through this location here. So he's filming from here through this estuary out to the boats over here in this location. And what you have this funnel. So I'll just put that on there. We have this funnel that runs through. So when the tides come in here, you've got lots of water pushing into this funnel because it's all sealed off. It's got walls all the way around. There's just one inlet here. There's where the water comes in. You've got this tide. It's like a tidal bore. It's essentially like a tidal bore, and the water gets artificially risen up in this location here, and this is where he's been doing his filming through. I've already been through with this with Jose, and what he's doing now is he's presenting it as glow proof when it's nothing but the sort. It's literally filming a tidal bore, and I guarantee that boat was probably in this location here, and he was filming it, and you had the water pushing in through this little bottleneck here, because it's a bottleneck. And what happens when you get a lot of water trying to push into a bottleneck, Nathan?
It's higher.
Of course it gets higher. Yeah. And you can see it on the video. You can see it clear as day. You can see where this hump is, where this water, you can see the bottleneck in the video. You can literally see it. That's why there's a cresting wave there constantly on the horizon. You never see a cresting wave on the horizon ever. Constantly like that.
Yeah, but the fact that you do is really handy.
Sorry?
Yeah, but that's brilliant. When do you ever get... I mean, you've caught this once or twice where you've managed to force the angle to be so tight, and when you've got little tiny waves that aren't basically covering the camera, small enough to not flood the camera, but big enough to actually cause an obstruction in the near foreground. Do you remember with the ducks?
Yep.
Well, that you had to really go some to induce that effect, which just makes the point that you can have something that's very small and far away, obscured by something that's also very big and far away, obscured by something that's very small and in the near foreground. But Jose's example, I don't care the induced effect, tidal bore, don't care. You can see that the water in the near foreground is bigger than the building or boat in the background. Well, that's useful for us.
Yes, I mean, just watch the video again. You'll see that the wave is constantly cresting and it's in one direction. That shows you that you're watching the tide pushing in and it's actually being artificially rose up in that location. It's the same with my area when I did that new location and I filmed into Haitian Bay. So it's the same sort of thing. When you get this bottleneck, the water rises up artificially in that exact spot. and that's what he's doing. He's going back to that same spot now, and he's got his little glow proof. You know, I could go back to the same place at Hesham, and I could get the same effect all day long, showing half of the buildings of Barrow missing due to water. But that's just being selective with the evidence, because you're not actually looking and explaining what's going on. In my location, you get a 2 meter high. It's a 2 meter bulge, 2 meter higher than where you are. If your camera's at 1 foot on the shore, you have a 2 meter tidal bore in front of you. It's going to block things out in the distance. And Jose is exactly the same.
What height did you say again? Do you guess Jose did film that effect? Like
a tidal bore. Anything that pushes into a bottleneck.
No, Ranty.
His height to the water that was lower, like you know. So
you said he was 15 to 20 feet high. Wasn't your question the time, or did you say the tide?
The height. Sorry, the height.
15 to 20 feet. He said 15 to 20 feet off the water.
Wow. Okay. I thought he was way lower than that, because it looked like he was like almost at sea level when he filmed it. But all right, maybe it's my fault.
I don't know. At the beginning, the opening shot is obviously on some rocks. So no, I don't know. It's that zoom for you, isn't it?
Yeah, because I thought like he has to be a little bit lower than the waves in order for the waves to block a whole ship. Right. Because if he was higher than the waves couldn't block his line of sight towards the ship.
Of course it would.
Oh my god. I have to deal with that on the after show.
I can't believe you just said that. Joking on my dinner.
If you're way higher than the waves, and of course the boat is in the water too, so the boat has waves in front of it, so a part of the ship will be blocked, but the whole ship.
Sorry, it was literally just demonstrated to you on screen, Zinder. There's a boat. It's far away, therefore close to the horizon, and the waves, which I'm going to go out on a limb here, Zinder, and say they're not 20-foot waves. I'm just guessing. Just guessing. Yeah? But fact, you saw it with your own eyes. It did block the boat, even though they weren't higher than him, Zinder. Isn't that amazing?
Well, at a certain height, you won't get the effect anymore, so I thought that he had to be like lower than like 15 feet. Jose, what was your height when you filmed it?
15 foot, maybe 20, because the Dioptra app told me it was 13 foot, and I got a almost 6 foot tripod.
Okay, just one other thing, Jose, just so, I mean, I don't know, I've gone out on a limb already, this might be concession time. Did you have 20 to 25 foot waves higher than you that day?
No, not at all.
Oh, really? So
no, but I want Ranty to point, because I want to give him the exact point. He's really close to where I was looking, and he got it close in the map. If he want to set the map and I point in what I was looking at.
It's quite funny. It's quite funny because you told me where this bay was, and I knew exactly where you would have been looking, the direction you would have been looking in, and what you'd have been looking through. And you didn't even tell me that, but I guessed it, and you just agreed that I'm correct because you're looking through.
No, I said you're in the area. You're in the area. So right, okay. You want to put the map, and I can tell you what is pointing.
Yeah, sure. One sec.
Well, that will have to get dealt with in the after show. So I will say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you're watching this on either the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel or the Nathan Oakley channel, stay tuned. Don't hit that dial, as the after show will commence after these credits. Once again, to all watching live, I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
That's significant.
Da-da-dun, da-da-dun.
Could go in 10 minutes or so.
So we almost got close to that concession, Jose. So, not Jose. Keep calling you Jose. Sorry, Zinda. So
give me 1 minute.
As you witnessed with your own eyes, a wave that is below you, Zinda, can obscure something that is further away and much higher than you. So the boat, if it was moored next to you in feet and inches, you can see that boat's bigger than where Jose was standing on that little pile of rocks by the shore. You'd understand that the boats are all bigger than him, right? Higher than him?
Yeah, obviously. So the waves were like 2 meters or 1 meter 50, and the boat probably was like, don't know, 10 meters or so. Depends what boat. So let's say you were at the same level as the boat, and the waves still managed to block the line of sight towards you on the boat.
Right.
On the boat.
Ranty, you got the map ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
So just one more time, Jose. Then I'll pass to Michael. It'll be all yours. Just one more time, just for brevity. So we've got a boat that's higher than him, higher, bigger, taller, and it's far away. And we've got a wave, something that's lower than him, obscuring it.
Yes, that's true.
You want to zoom in a little bit?
Okie dokie. Ranty, the mic's all yours. Well, Ranty and Jose.
Zooming a little more. There's like a long pier. You see that long pier right where you got the mouth right there. I drive all the way down to the end. So right is the observation point. And I was looking up.
That way?
No, up as for visible, yes.
This
Because
way.
to the left, it was this land, which is closer, but I was looking kind of just directing, just around that neighborhood. I was looking, like the red line was my first spot, and then I panned to the left just a tiny bit. So that was what I was looking at.
So you'll appreciate that the tide comes in through this little bottleneck here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so as the tide pushes in and it goes into this bay, what do you think is going to happen as it's pushing in this direction? So you got all this water rushing in.
I'm not very familiar, with the behavior and stuff. I just really wanted to document it because I never caught it like this.
What are the distances we're talking here, Jose? So should we actually be getting earth curve obstruction, or is that not the point?
No, that's why I titled my video that way. It's an honest question. Are waves the cause of obstruction? In some cases, yes. So that's what I really wanted to present.
Sure, but just out of interest, is there any? Could there be any claim? I know it's farcical. I'm just spitballing. I know we can all see it's obvious, and Zinda's just nicely conceded that even though something's below him, a man who denies that you can have obstruction across a flat plane, but we've actually got something that's lower than you causing obstruction in this scenario.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
I hope Zinda never asks me how we have obstruction on a flat plane again, given that he's conceded that something that's below him has obscured something far away. But there we go. I'm just very pleased with that, Zinda. I want to package up this moment so that when you come in next time and say, how can you have obstruction from bottom up on a flat surface, right? And I'll say, well, Zinda, you conceded that something that's literally below you can block something that's far away. I just want to package up this moment and now move on to the fact that, as ridiculous as it is, when it's obviously a cresting wave on the horizon, could somebody, as farcical as this sounds, claim that the distances you've seen that boat at have actually got earth curve obstruction?
Okay, give me a moment to respond. So, of course, I know your explanation of the angle of attack, so I'm not going to ask how does something disappear bottom first on a flat plane, because I already know your answer. So the second thing is, even though I would say yes, the boat was at the same, like, let's say if Jose was at 20 feet and the boat was 20 feet high, I would say yes. The distance to the ground from the boat, the highest point of the boat to the water and Jose to the ground was the same. the part where we disagree is if the Earth is curved or not. Because if the Earth was curved, even though the distance to sea level of the boat would be the same, right? The waves would have a much higher impact to block the boat because they would be higher in relative to the observer and the boat.
Okay.
The line of sight. So,
just one second, Ranty. Just one second, Ranty. Sorry. So, following that example through, Zinder, you're saying that the problem would be exemplified by virtue of perspective if a wave, something in the foreground, sat on the Earth curve between you and the thing you're viewing. So, by that standard, when we've looked at things like the Isle of Man, and we've got an Earth curve obstruction blocking our view, wouldn't that same thing hold true, that we could ultimately demand that you take into account the fact that the Earth curve bulge that's being claimed is closer to you and therefore bigger, causing more of an obstruction, in other words?
Oh, I think the only reason why it causes the obstruction is because it blocks your line of sight to the Isle of Man, for example, or to the boat. So I think that's a good enough explanation. I have to go soon. So line of sight is blocked, you can't see the object anymore. Line of sight is free, you can see the object again. So that's my explanation for it.
So you are actually flying in the face of it. Oh, well, that's excellent, Zinder, because in the case of the Isle of Man, we see the lighthouse. It's not being obscured, but the effect that you're detailing, I'm glad you've conceded that, would be far, far worse for us to see it, which we do, the lighthouse, or the boat, or anything else that we see when we shouldn't see it, and it's claimed that that's on the clearest of days, when the most refraction's occurring.
Are you talking about the lighthouse that you show often as during the show, right? When you let the picture slide. Are you talking about that lighthouse?
Yeah, so in the same way as you're saying...
Oh, that's not a lighthouse, people have claimed, so I'm not sure if you are either honest about it being a lighthouse, or if you have mistaken it for something else, or if the other persons are honest for it not being a lighthouse. So I'm kind of like 50-50 on this position.
You doubt if it's Smorgasbord Lighthouse? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because
no worries. Oh, no worries. You see, Miles the Liar Davis went to the top of St. Bees Hill, or somewhere in the near vicinity, and got a little bit higher and confirmed unequivocally, by confirming up, that it's got all the same shapes around it and it's basically the same geographical thing, but from a higher vantage point. We are certain it is Smorgasbord Lighthouse, Zinder.
All right. I'm gonna take your word for it.
Were you referring to somebody specific who claims it's not? I'd like to know that person's name so we can humiliate them.
I'm going to show it to you next time. I have to find it again. So I have to go now, and I'm going to take your word for it right now.
Oh, go on. Name and shame the person. We know who it is. We know who it is already. Just tell us, Cinder. Go on.
Yeah, wait a moment. Got to take the phone.
Oh no, he's saved by the bell. Will we never find out, this dumbass who thinks it's not Smorgasbord Lighthouse?
Can we see the map again, Ranty? Was that you that was displaying the map?
Yeah.
Okay. I just have some questions. Jose, are you around? I just want some clarification.
Yeah. And in the map, you can see the path where the boats go by, so we can extrapolate kind of what the distance was.
Okay, so am I to understand that the way that we're looking at this right now, that the line that is going perpendicular or straight ahead, that's the same line of sight that you are showing us are waves the cause of obstruction? So the ship, zoom out, Ranty.
So I'm just looking for a 30-foot above sea level, because where we
never say 30.
Jose?
No, I said for 15 to 20 with tripod and everything. I think. Okay.
Jose, do you really have a 12-foot tripod?
Where exactly were you? Because there's only like a 1 meter, 2 meter elevation here.
You see that little? It's like a little concrete square. To the right, there's like a little house, like a little.
Oh, there.
Go close.
There, this thing.
Yeah, I was standing in that little platform of concrete right there. I was standing.
It says elevation 1 meter.
Oh, yeah, okay, I guess. Yeah, then 1 meter and then add a 5 foot tripod. It's a 6 foot, but you say 5.
Well, 1 meter, that's 3 feet, and a 5 foot tripod, that would be 8 feet.
But I
Where'd you
got a
get?
three. I mean, it's not a 3 foot above the water. It's at least 10 foot because I mean, I got in another video. I got 360, and I got me pointing down to the water and around the whole area. You know, I just didn't include it in this one. I didn't think necessary.
Okay, well, right. Okay, so you were stood on this 1 meter platform.
But you can say it's lower. I mean, it helps me better.
I don't know because you haven't showed a panoramic, so I don't know. I've not seen the whole video. I don't know. I can't gauge how high you are. You're telling me 15 feet. This is saying it's a meter above sea level. What do you want me to say?
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, go by the map. Yeah, it's all right.
Well, anyway, so go on. You wanted to clarify where he was stood. Hello?
Plain Truth was going to ask a question, I think.
Yeah, Plain Truth, are you still there, mate?
All right, I'm back. Sorry. What we were talking about of the name, right?
Do you happen to know that it looks to me like this is where that boat would have probably crossed right in front of you, around about here? Is that right? Because this seems to be the shipping.
That's the shipping lane, or a little bit to the left, a little bit later to the left, but in that path, yeah.
Okay, so what's the furthest distance? Let's have a look at something from there. It's 3 miles away. Are you claiming obstruction at 3 miles? 4 miles?
No. You misinterpret. What are you trying to say that I say?
I don't know. I just seen a video where part of the boat's hidden, and you've told me you're at 15 feet above sea level, and we're looking here at like 4 miles. You know,
yeah, no, I'm not claiming any blockage. I'm just documenting the waves, and I'm just presenting it.
But this is excellent, Jose, because what you've done is you've created an exceptional baller argument with all of the unpickings and contradictions in one nice little video that couldn't ever even be claimed to be Earth curve. So you've got nice waves below your eye line. There's definitely no consideration that this is an Earth curve obscuring it. It's not far enough. But yet there it is, blocking something in the distance. It's just
That's beautiful. I love it. And I wish more people on the ball side present more of the footage that contradicts their own paradigm, you know? Because this is good. We got to present everything we catch, left and right. That's what's beautiful about me. That's what I say. Anything I catch that nature give us that could be perceived either way, I just want to put it out there.
I need to. I'm going to watch this video because I want to see. Hang on. Go to the channel. I'd like to see which video this is.
There, the first one, top left.
Top left, right.
Yeah, the one I uploaded yesterday.
Are waves the cause of obstruction from the bottom up? Well, at least you didn't title it Earth Curve.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if you can try and get. I mean, do you know the name of the boat that you were looking at?
Nice and big.
No, really not in this one yet.
Do you know what this is over here?
Not sure. I gotta review the whole footage because I got more footage on just doing a very, very slow.
Wow, look at you can see this wave here. It's a constant wave.
Look at it. Look at it.
That's where the tide's
You're gonna love it.
Look at this.
Yeah, that looks crazy.
This is where the funneling in that estuary that I told you. Look at it.
I know, Ranty, you talk about this, and it's the first time that I've seen it documented this way. It's really good footage. Yeah.
This isn't a rolling wave. This is actually the tidal bore right in front of your eyes. This is the tide pushing in and artificially highering the height of the water in front of you. That's what's happening. You're literally looking at it right now.
I don't think so. I think actually the Earth is much, 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 much smaller than they tell us, and Jose has, like soundly, caught that magical Earth curve just at a much shorter distance.
Come on.
No, look at it. Look, it's at least a meter or a couple of meters, maybe. Look, it's a constant wave. Wow, that's sensational stuff. It's either hitting a sandbank as it's pushing through, or it's part of the tidal bore.
Look at that with the boat.
Look at it.
Boats at various different distances. Nice, nice examples of perspective in every example. This is epic. Can you just let it play out?
Yeah.
This is epic.
I told you I got your footage to present, Nathan. I'm telling you.
Actually, that's actually good shit, Jose.
This is what I want to do. I want to find the clear days and different little phenomena that takes place in the daily basis and uploading for all to see. That's it.
Well, the topography of the land underneath it is going to have an effect on the water level. So the water level, because water is level, but it will be artificially moved around by the topography of the land underneath. Hitting a sandbank, the tidal bores, all this kind of stuff is going to have hitting a rock even. There could be a massive boulder underneath there, and as the tide pushes in against it, it will artificially create a little hump in the water. You've got to know your topography of the land that you're filming over. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I might be able to visit 1 or 2 more times. It's really, really cloudy.
Look at that. The entire boat is hidden behind that wave.
Yeah.
That
I'm planning on going 1 or 2 more times, and then I'm going to go to Florida. So this is going to be my last few footages over here.
Yeah, that was what I showed to Zindaranti. Isn't that epic? Isn't that absolutely epic? And he was like, well, it's one of those that when you see that happen, how are you going to argue against that? Look at that. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This is ace.
They're drowning. Save them.
Oh no, the earth curve swallowed it up.
See, but Jose, would it have been better for you to bring stuff like this to us so that we could try to work it out and analyze? Yeah,
standard has gone up exponentially since becoming a globe head. What the hell is going on? Anyway, I think I'm going to use that probably as an opportunity to round out for the Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980 audiences. So I will say first and foremost, of course, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to Jose JG Soundly Slayer Gonzalez for his absolutely astonishingly good and epic footage. Long may that continue while he's a globehead. Even better. Marveliso splendido. And also a massive thank you to all of you in the audience of this premiere. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!